And we are live. Welcome back to Ask Dr. Vincent after our series with me, Dr. Vincent, and my co-founder and dear friend, Christian. So, Christian, how are you doing today?
I am very well, thank you. We've had an exciting week.
We did. We have been working on a lot of exciting things and things that actually are really fascinating in the way that it's a new venture that we've never been before, and still with the foundation of science, we will be coming up with exciting news, especially when it comes to one of our product lines.
Yeah, sort of November time, I think.
November time, just, we don't really do Black Friday here, but why not? We will take the opportunity to introduce something that will truly and thoroughly change
Okay,
your life.
we'll aim for Black Friday. Well, we hope people like it.
We
At
hope
least,
people will like it.
I hope people like it.
We
But
have been really excited about it, and if you know me, I am not the person that you will tell a secret to, because if I get really excited, I can't stop talking about it. But
okay, let's stop talking about it then.
for
And
now, I will keep my mouth shut about it.
okay, the other really exciting thing is this is actually our 6th episode, isn't it?
This is our 6th episodes, and thank you so much for those of you who have listened, subscribed, download.
So people have been listening and subscribing.
People have been doing that, and not only that, people have been sharing our episodes, because I've been getting a lot of DMs as well as messages, and some of my friends and friends of our friends have been telling me that I discovered this podcast. And I was so surprised, because usually I'll be the one who is spamming your WhatsApp and emails and telling you that listen to our podcast. But now, after the 4th episode, people have been like, coming up to me or messaging me and say that I really enjoyed that podcast. I really enjoyed that conversation, which is amazing and humbling. And
Completely amazing.
we're very, very grateful. And in 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 response to our episodes, we have been getting a lot of questions, and
So is it time to do some of these questions?
I think so.
Should we do some of these questions?
We should. And I
But
thought
we've been saving them up since the first episode.
two A4 pages, and I can tell you, it's actually, and this is not all of it.
I don't think we'll do all the questions.
Well, Christian, you can be the curator of this question.
We will do some of the questions because we've got actually something really important to talk about that I think is super interesting as part of the podcast today. But why don't we knock off some of these questions, and maybe we'll do some more questions at some other time as well.
Let's do that.
Okay, cool. We got a whole series of questions about children's skin health. Super exciting topic. But that's okay. That's okay. People are interested, so we'll do it. We'll do it. So I guess let's start with do kids really need skincare routines?
They do, but not in the way that we have been marketed for. So it is not something that should be too complicated or elaborate. Obviously, it needs to be part of the hygiene routine. So cleansing, and especially during winter, or when you use a lot of heater, or when people are out there in the sun, they need to moisturize and sunscreen.
What should you wash your child's face with? I mean,
some really gentle cleanser. So water is always a good choice. You don't necessarily before all of the skincare being marketed to us, people use water to cleanse their face and also their skin. So water is a
will that get the
good
dirt
choice.
off?
Sorry?
Will water get the dirt off? And should it be warm water or cold water, or what sort of water?
So room temperature water, just normal water. Warm water is good to start the cleansing, but then you always have to end with cold water, especially as they grow up into teenagers, where they may be developing acne or pimples, stuff like that. Because the cold water really helps the skin to not lose more moisture and hydration, but gentle cleanser. So a lot of cleansers are formulated to strip away the oil, the natural barrier of the skin, under the pretense of deep cleansing, which is what we are being normalized to think, that you have to really clean your face to make it healthy, but that's not necessarily the
So
case.
is children's skin, it's more sensitive or delicate than adult skin then?
It's not necessarily more sensitive, but it's a lot more delicate.
Okay. Okay. So you wanna be a little bit gentler
Yes, and I
with it.
don't.
You're not using a scrub or a volcanic mud or something
No, no,
on your skin.
and I know that we sell serum, but I will be the first person to tell you, do not that it's dangerous, it's just that it's not something
It's
that is.
just not they don't need it.
They don't need it. I mean, we formulate our serum to fight signs of aging. Why do a 11-year-old need to do that?
So really is it, if you want, help clean your kid's face and that sort of stuff, just that normal thing, it's water or some sort of light
Water, gentle cleanser. Our cleanser is fine for kids, and the moisturizing a cream, and if they
sunscreen. And sunscreen's
and
the thing.
sunscreen if they are.
Sunscreen's the thing, isn't it, really?
It is. It is. I don't know if you know this, and I don't know if we've covered this before, but 70% of your anti-aging routine, again, not this kids need anti-aging, but 70% of your anti-aging and skincare routine is actually rooted in protecting your cells and skin tissues against the radiation, including UV radiation.
Okay, so as kids, we got this question about acne, because that's, teenagers are kids as well. Um, what should, how should parents help, their teenage kids with acne?
The first thing that they need to do is to make sure that they don't emphasize and make the insecurity grows even stronger, because already they have to deal with a lot of things, and unfortunately acne does impact your confidence and self-security, because I know this from experience, because I suffer from acne as well as rosacea. So the things that I wish my mom didn't say was like, stop eating junk food, or wash your face, because I've been doing all of that. Unfortunately, acne is something that is a lot more complicated than that. It has the hormonal aspect, it has the stress, and it's like a vicious cycle. The more you think about it, the more you get stressed about it, the more issues that you will have with acne. So I do think that it is important for parents to explain to their kids that this is not a permanent issue. In most cases, people grow out of it, and it is just part of puberty, part of your body is changing. And I do believe that
And people with really bad acne, they go to dermatologists, and then there's special, like, steroids and stuff that the dermatologist can
in some cases,
prescribe,
in
like
some
real medication.
in some cases, people do need medical pharmaceutical intervention. But I do believe that in a
But it
lot
has to be really bad.
in majority of the cases, people grow out of it. And I would have to say that I don't know the statistic off the top of my head, but I would say that probably 95% of people going through puberty would have some sort of issues with their skin when it comes to acne and pimples. And as parents, you need to explain it to your kids that it is normal. And if you do have experience with bad skin yourself, I do think that it is we need to normalize parents talking to their kids about their skin health, because it's not necessarily that you need to tell them that you need to cover your makeup and stuff like that, because they need to see they need to have a real talk about skin health that is beyond vanity.
Okay. So, we've also got one that sort of connects to both of those, questions, that came in. And this, I think, is also applicable to, adults, and that is, uh, are natural products always safer for children's skin, or is that a myth? Why don't you I mean, our active ingredient is all natural, and we're very firm about keeping, that fact.
And our active ingredient is technically edible. Not that you should eat our skincare. I'm just saying that it is so safe that it's technically edible. What I'm saying is that
But
while
but natural products, when people come out with like a natural product, or they say on the label, an all natural product, does that mean that it's good for children, or adolescents, or in fact adults with sensitive skin, or is that a myth? Are there
that's a
things
myth.
that things can be actually made that are better?
That's a myth, and I unfortunately brands and marketing agency are demonizing the all natural or 100% natural claim as something that makes you think it is automatically safe. Guess what? Poison ivy is all natural. Cyanide is all natural. However, they're not necessarily something that you would associate with being safe or healthy. And I do think that you need to you need to make sure that not only it's natural, but it's actually compatible with your body. So before our technology came along, all things are natural. How when it comes to antioxidant extract, the issue is that majority of these extracts, even though they are quote unquote natural or naturally sourced, they are not biocompatible with our body. And as we know, if it's not compatible with our body, not only is useless, that's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario that is poisoning, literally poisoning your body.
So, like, how do people? They see the labeling on the front of the label or whatever. It says, all natural, organic, all those sort of things. We've just had the discussion that actually that doesn't necessarily mean that it's kind of as a product fit for purpose or as good a product as maybe others are. So there's a bit of marketing in there. How do people know what's kind of good for their kids, their teenagers, and in fact themselves? Because you have to. Yeah, there's various regulations about putting the ingredients on the back of various products
The
here in Australia.
pedigree of the company is very important because
You won't know what the names of those various things are in the ingredients, and it's impossible to.
I know that,
I mean,
and
can you look that up? Can you
you
just Google it all?
you can look it
There's
up,
like
and
20 different ingredients or something.
you can look them up. As a matter of fact, there are apps or websites that helps you to navigate through the different ingredients and whether or not they are 2 out of 10 in terms of safety
That's
and
what
things
we
like
should
that.
have. We should have a Renovatio, an Apple a day app that tells you, what products are
We
what products
should,
are good.
and
You
it
just
could
scan it
be
and know.
Dr. Vincent certified or things.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway,
That's a good idea.
okay.
However, going back to the topic of the question, when it comes to how do you know, unfortunately, it's very hard to know. Uh, I do believe that sometimes you really need to do a little bit more digging in terms of the pedigree of the company,
Or find a good
of
company and
finding
then just sort of stick to it.
and unfortunately, in a lot of cases, it's a little bit like you need to try to believe it. And
I mean, except for the serum, obviously, because that's not suitable. You use our products with your daughter,
yes,
who's a toddler.
who's a toddler, but I've been using that on Olivia, like our hand and body cream, especially since she was an infant.
Yeah.
She was a baby. So I do believe that.
So with skincare, you want to look for companies with that sort of pedigree, where the person
Yes, I mean,
who makes it will
out of
use it on their own kids.
out of anyone that I would be concerned in terms of testing products on, that would be
We're not testing
my daughter, right?
children.
We're not testing on
products
animals,
on your
but
daughter.
we're testing on my own kid. No, okay. Well, let's.
We're
move
not
on.
doing that for clarity. Yes, let's
No,
move on
no.
quickly. uh, and I guess in the last sort of thing of this, and this was all about skin health. People are very worried about their skin. Anyway,
It is the largest organ in our body.
very, very true. So how much of good skin health is genetics versus sort of environment versus kind of what you can control, your routine and all that sort of stuff?
This is always the conundrum, right? Is it nature versus nurture, or can you change it? And I do believe that the genetic aspect is the baseline. Obviously, some people are born with the propensity of having good skin, and some people are a lot more at risk at developing acne or scarring or premature aging when it comes to the collagen and elastin structure. However, environmental aspect and how we deal with our skin health, how we nourish our skin is also very important, especially from the inside. People nowadays understand that skin health is also from the inside, but for the longest time, people only associate skin health with what you put onto your skin. And I'm very glad that we're moving away from that sort of kind of approach and more of a holistic approach when it comes to addressing our skin health, especially when it comes to inflammation. Because inflammation, whether you like it or not, is part of your genetic and it's part of the environmental factor. Both factors, internal and external, can cause inflammation. And if we can address these inflammation issues, you solve 70 to 80% of the problem.
Okay. So the other the other question that came in that was kind of interesting on skincare, and this isn't just for kids or young people's skin. This is for kind of for everyone. Um, was about why products um, are so expensive. Why skincare products are so expensive if they don't actually work better.
Well, sometimes you pay for the ambassadors or the celebrity endorsers of the product. Sometimes you pay for the packaging. But in the case of ours, you actually do pay for the ingredients that is expensive to make. So I wouldn't use a broad brush stroke to characterize that expensive skincare is not necessarily better for you, or that you're paying for just the marketing or
So
packaging,
should
because
celebrities? Should we be pretty cautious about celebrity endorsed some celebrity endorsed products?
I do think that when you have the likes of the Jenners and the Kardashians and perpetuating
Like,
that.
they're not making their own skincare. It's some factory somewhere, and they're just
And
being
not
paid
only
for
that, they're
marketing.
selling, say, a lip care, and then they say that, "Oh, this is not lip care, by the way, a lip care, and then this is how I changed my appearance from A to B." But in between that, there were like 12 surgical procedures. So I really do think that authenticity is important, and communication from the brand. We are very open for people to ask questions. We are very open in terms of recognizing there are other brands out there with amazing, fantastic science backed
It's
ingredients.
about
Like,
being science-backed, isn't it?
that's correct. Yeah.
And, on the same sort of wavelength, maybe you wanna not necessarily, be buying the most expensive skincare, but you probably don't wanna be buying the cheapest either, do you?
No, because there is a level of you get what you pay for sort of kind of mentality.
So really for something I'm just generalizing. For something that you can have a level of confidence in that, okay, this is a well formulated cleanser. This is with good ingredients. This is a good moisturizer with good ingredients. This is a serum with good ingredients. Around in Australian dollars, I guess. Around what sort of mark should you be paying for those things? I mean, there's a number that it's impossible to make a quality product.
Yes,
Kind of under.
just compare the price to water. You can't have a bottle of serum that basically has the same price with, I don't know, soft drink, or a bottle of mineral water. So when it comes to cleanser, I would say that anywhere between maybe $25 to $35, depending on the volume, the quantity that you get your cleanser in. And when it comes to serum, I would have to say that anything below the $35 mark, you're not getting anything that's actually useful, because majority of serum comes in a very small quantity, and a little goes a long way. But you need to really pack that uh, powerful ingredients into the tiny drops, and you need not only science, but you only need good quality ingredients to make sure that you're delivering everything that you're promising. And when it comes to skin cream, I would say that it's anywhere between maybe $30 to $50. It really, again, depends on how much you're getting in terms of the volume per packaging. And a
So
lot of
these are kind of the minimums for having something that um, is more likely than not to have some of the right ingredients in it,
That's
or at
correct.
least some of the functional ingredients. Because functional ingredients are actually expensive, aren't they?
They're expensive, and we have been very lucky. Renovati has been very, very lucky in the way that majority of the research have been done prior to us founding the company. So we don't necessarily.
Thank you, Newcastle University.
Thank you, Newcastle University. We don't necessarily charge you customers for our R&D, and having a scientist in house, yours truly, really helps in terms of formulation, because I do believe that when it comes to skincare, a scientific approach is the best approach, because I am not someone who is too patient when it comes to seeing result. I want skincare that shows result almost immediately and almost instantaneously. And the only way to achieve that kind of effect and properties is by using science.
Okay, last skincare question because we've done this to death today. But it's kind of an important one. and that is what's kind of the number one skincare mistake people can be making on a daily basis? Just not wearing sunscreen, or is it something else?
No, I think it's
Because I don't wear sunscreen.
I think it's a little bit more foundational. I choose to ignore that comment because that warrants a whole full episode. But to answer your question, the
Well, I wear sunscreen if I'm like going to the beach or something like that. I just don't put it on every day.
again, that warrants is a full episode because I can talk for like 4 hours when it comes to sunscreen. As a matter of fact, watch out for November. What I'm Let me answer your question. Let me repeat the question and let me answer it. The biggest skincare misconception that is my pet peeves is that more the more of skincare you use, the better result that you will get. More is not always better when it comes
Are
to
you
skincare.
talking about steps
Yes,
and routines? People
5
spending
steps.
like an hour and a half in the bathroom doing their 12-step program or something?
Yes, because our skin is a living being. It is a living organ. It needs to breathe. If you layer 12 products onto your skin, you're suffocating the skin. And I really do
But
think
do
that
people enjoy doing that? I don't know.
some people do, and some people probably not naturally, but they are being conditioned to think that you have to do these steps to achieve a glowing, healthy skin. I have to say
And to
that
kind of be ready for the day. So it's a bit psychological, isn't it?
it's a bit psychological, and also people like doing stuff to achieve something, and they feel that
Even if they're not achieving it.
but they feel that if they're doing it, they are making uh, steps. They're taking steps into achieving the healthy, glowing skin that they want. Unfortunately, the industry is very good at making you think that you are not enough in the way that your skin is never good enough. I have to say that I regularly get a lot of compliments when it comes to my skin, and this is coming from someone who is suffering and still suffer from rosacea because rosacea has no cure. However, I only follow 3 steps: cleansing, treatment, and moisturizing. And I do believe that hydration, nutrients, and sleep are very important. Those are the things that people ignore because those are not so kind of sexy to talk about. Like it's not really sexy to talk about drinking enough water or having enough sleep. As a matter of fact, we need to have an episode on sleep.
Okay, and do people with fewer or no kids have better skin than people with kids? Are
That is,
kids a major stressor for your skin?
I have to say,
That's my question, by the way.
from personal, from I know it's not on the list. From personal experience, I have to say that the first year of Olivia being born was actually really tough on my skin because of the sleep aspect. I have to say that nothing really negatively affects my skin more than the lack of sleep because I happen to think that sleep is my superpower, and that is probably one of the foundation of renovative success in terms of getting enough sleep and can sleep anytime anywhere and stay asleep despite of the weird hours. The problem when you have a kid is that I worry too much about her not sleeping enough, not feeding enough, or like, oh my god, is she breathing when she's asleep? So that worriness really affected my sleeping
This is
pattern.
like the first time dad type thing going on.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, what I learned is that the worrying never stops. It changes. What the things that you worry about change, but the worrying, the fundamentals, foundation of worrying when you have a kid remains.
So maybe that's an open question then. Is having kids good for your skin? Everyone can make their own decision. Look, we have a whole lot of questions on AI because we talked about AI a bit and that sort of thing. But if we do those today, we won't get to the topic of what we wanted to have a chat about. So I might leave those for next time, and we can talk about some AI,
Yeah.
artificial intelligence on the next podcast. Some questions
Well,
that
our last
came
episode
in.
was about AI, and probably you would probably agree with me. The first majority of the question that we've received have been around skincare, and number two, it appears that it is around AI.
People like asking questions about skincare. Maybe we need to talk a bit more about how our diet, the dietary
We
activated phenolics a bit, so we get more questions on that. But people have been asking a lot of questions about skincare.
It is again the biggest organ. The other thing that I also want to, I mean, this is a nice segue into our main topic today. I always talk about how our body is made up of trillions and trillions of cells, and how when we look after our cells, we look after our health in general, because human body can regenerate, can recuperate a lot better, a lot more efficiently at the cellular level by reducing inflammation in our cellular system. You're encouraging our cells to function better, to regenerate better, and to basically manifest this good quality of health in our body, in our organ. But there are two things that I want to talk about that today, is that the number of cells in our body is majority made up not by our cells. These trillions and trillions of cells is only
Aren't we all made up of stardust or something?
that that is a very fascinating comment that you made today. So there was a theory that we are, as a living being, was, a part of the long evolutionary pathway from millions and billions years ago, and essentially we're all made from stardust. That's correct. But today I want to talk about the microbiome that make up our cells, because
No, I want to talk about the microbiome in our stomach, because sometimes I hear people talk about it as flora and fauna, like, or flora
it's
in your
flora,
flora.
microflora.
So is there like a Sherwood Forest situation going on in your stomach?
Yes, as a matter of fact,
So
our
there's like animals and plants and
living
living
beings.
beings,
So all of these fungi, bacteria,
fungi.
fungi. Well, yeah,
Yeah, fungus.
fungus. Yeah,
So we have fungus in our body, do we?
yes, we do
That's
have
part of our
that.
microbiome.
That's part of our microbiome environment, because the, the 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 ratio between our own cells and all of this microbiome is actually 1 to 10. We have more microbiome cells compared to our own cells in our body.
So is it all fungus? Is it all like,
No,
do we all have these like microscopic mushrooms growing inside us?
not growing, but as part of our microbiome. So the microbiome is the environment, within our cells, within our body, in which there is a correlation between our own cells and these microbiome cells that make up from fungus, bacteria, microscopic mushrooms. Basically, these are the things that we have symbiotic relationship with, whether it's mutualism or sometimes parasitic relationship. And what we are trying to do is to make sure that this microbiome is in check.
So we kind of have parasites in there as part of our microbiome, and there's nothing to kind of worry about.
That's correct, because say for example, the bacteria that cause acne, P. acnes, it is not a bacteria that only present themselves in people with acne issue. It is in everyone's body. It is in everyone's skin. It only causes issues when there's an overgrowth, which means that it 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 disrupts the balance and the environmental balance between our cells and these bacteria cells, and that can cause acne. The same thing, you said that you're interested in our gut microflora or gut microbiome. 70% of our immune system originate from our gut, and when there is a disruption in that environment when it comes to the microbiome, then it can cause issue. Things like indigestion, things like stomach ache, and not only that, our gut also affects our hormonal system and our mood, and this is why our gut has been dubbed as the second brain in our body.
Yeah, because people have been talking about it as kind of the second
Brain.
brain. So what does that mean, that your gut and the health of your microbiome, and we'll come to what the health of your microbiome even means. I mean, how do you even measure that? Does that mean that your gut's making some decisions for you, or influencing various things you're doing during the day?
You asked that question quite skeptically, in the way that, does your gut make decision for your body? And the answer is yes, more often and more significantly than what you might think before, because uh, the hormone that cause you to feel hunger originates from your gut. So the decision of your brain makes in terms of whether or not you need to snack, you need to eat, originates from our gut. The 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 happy hormone, the stress hormone, also are influenced by the mechanism in your gut. It connects your gut to your brain, and that's the reason why it's a it can be a vicious cycle when it comes to whether you are stress eating or when people have uh, anorexia tendency or eating disorder, because your gut influences the decision that your brain is making.
So it's broader than just being hungry or whatever. It's impacting other hormones, which is making you make decisions or want to do things, or something like that your brain is interpreting. Is that what you're saying?
That is exactly what I'm saying. And if you want to take it in the more extreme way, obviously this is science fiction, but if you want to take it in the more extreme way, for example, like the cordyceps mushroom that takes over, the zombie
We're
like
now talking about The Last of Us.
The Last of Us. That's correct. So I know that it's extreme and that is something that is very unlikely to happen, but this gives you the analogy and explanation that this microbiome, this microflora in our gut and in our body can literally alter the decisions that you make.
Okay, so how do you know then if your flora in your gut and that sort of stuff is healthy? How do you know that?
Well, there are a number of ways.
You stop making silly decisions?
Well, there's a reason why they call it gut feeling, right? Like even without
Okay.
even
Yeah.
without knowing it scientifically, our ancestors culturally, you said gut feeling, or I mean, excuse me, you feel that you have butterflies in your tummy. So that's the reason why people call it that, because without knowing it, subconsciously we know that our gut has influence when it comes to our life and and making decision. So if your gut
Well, I didn't really know that until today, until you told me. But yes.
really,
No, I didn't.
but you do know
I
that,
know when I feel hungry, but I didn't know it did the other things.
but you do know the term or the expression gut,
Oh, yeah.
right?
No, absolutely.
And what I'm saying is that when your gut is unhealthy, when it comes to you have constipation, or you have indigestion, or when you are constantly feeling that you're hungry or tired because of your insulin level spike and crash, I think that it warrants check an investigation when it comes to your gut health. There are more invasive way of checking whether or not your gut is working properly, endoscopy, colonoscopy, but I would have to say
Do they
that
measure the flora and stuff in there?
they they, they can
Is that
take
something
samples.
you can do?
They can take samples, and
Is that something we should do, or you don't need to?
I do
That's
think
going to
that
an extreme.
there are steps before that.
Okay.
So you need to make sure that when you have persistent indigestion issue, or when you have persistent um, irregularity, so constipation, or if you have persistent diarrhea, that warrants further check. And
So sort of what's coming out is a major indicator of the health of your gut flora.
or what's not coming out.
Or what's not coming out is that's basically what you're saying.
That's correct. And we should make sure that we don't normalize constipation or diarrhea as something that you should ignore, because obviously that is a major indication of your health when it comes to what your body is flushing out, right?
Yeah, so okay. So people that are worried about it or whatever obviously need to talk to their GP, but in terms of some of the things that people talk about to do with your gut, the prebiotic and
Probiotic,
probiotic, and there might even be another one. Is there
postbiotic.
postbiotic? Is there any more?
Well, so far we only talk about prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic, and I'll get to that. But before I get to that, I also want to talk about antibiotic.
Oh, okay.
The issue with all of this gut microflora is that when you take antibiotic, and especially when you take it without prescription, unwarranted, or that you don't finish your prescription, the issue is that you're basically nuking your gut microflora because in majority of the case, this antibiotic is like a nuclear option. It's not very precise. It kills everything, right? So when people ask me, should I take probiotic every day? The answer is no, not really, because probiotic is just one of, and it's not the biggest portion of the gut microflora. Prebiotic is probably much more important. So the difference between pre and probiotic is that prebiotic is like the soil and the food where probiotic grows. Probiotic is the live bacteria, and postbiotic is the product of this live bacteria. And the reason why people think that, okay, let me just take probiotic is because they think
Can
that
we
they
just
are
do that slowly again? Because that is the most interesting thing I've heard all year. I didn't even know that, like the difference pre and
pro and
pro
post.
and post. So the pre is like,
The pre is like the soil and the food where
so
the
that's like
probiotic
so that's
grows.
the preparation. That's the really important thing. If you don't have that,
It
you
doesn't matter how many
how much
capsules of probiotic
whatever you
or
you
yogurt that
have,
you take.
you won't be growing anything.
That's correct. So you need to make sure that the environment of your gut and intestine is conducive for the probiotics to grow. And probiotic, being the live bacteria, are not necessarily something that you need to replenish every day, because it should be part of your healthy gut microflora environment. It because they're alive, they can replicate, they can procreate, and they can repopulate your gut as long as the probiotic is there.
So I should know this, but our activated phenolics product, is that pre, pro, or post? What is
It's
that?
it's prebiotic.
That's a prebiotic.
That's the prebiotic, and it's a very unique prebiotic because it is the combination between oligosaccharide and pectin. So this is one part of the invention, in that we create an entirely new type of fiber from from apple fiber.
When you say we, you mean you.
I meant me.
Yeah.
So Renovatio has access to this very proprietary and very unique type of prebiotic, oligospectin, in which that it is really easy for your body to process, but it is resistant to digestion. Because the reason why it needs to be resistant to digestion is that for fibers that your body can break down and digest, it will just turn into sugar. So it needs to maintain itself and the structure integrity to be used as a growing substrate for the probiotic. And that's the reason why a lot of our customers, after taking our product, they say that they no longer need their probiotic or good bacteria supplement, or taking the probiotic supplement separately, because they don't feel that their gut needs it. And that is the best and most natural way to grow your gut microflora,
So
by just providing the environment in which your good bacteria can thrive.
And now that is kind of explaining to me the feedback that we often get, that after illness, or as people are recovering from a bad illness or something like that, and they take our product and they feel better while they're taking it. It's not necessarily treating the illness. Is this what it's? But it's not a medication. But is this how it's helping? Is this part of how it's helping?
So the inflammation is one part, and making sure that your gut microflora is thriving, because especially after recovering from major illness or surgery or major infection, the first thing that your body needs is nutrients, right?
And
And
people are
by
taking lots of antibiotics and that sort of stuff, which is wiping out the prebiotic stuff, is
the
it?
probiotic, that's
The
correct,
probiotics. So the probiotics then need the prebiotic
to grow.
to come in and grow back.
And
Understand, this is very sensible.
without this healthy environment of probiotic and prebiotic, it will hinder your body's ability to absorb nutrients. Especially when people are recovering from major illnesses, they need these nutrients to rebuild themselves, to rebuild their health. So by making sure that you're looking after the functions of your gut, it will actually speed up your recovery. And that's the reason why a lot of people, when they first take our product for the very first time, especially for the first 3 days or 1 week, the first thing that they notice is that their digestive system improved dramatically.
Wow, and that's the combination of the prebiotic effect
And the
and the
anti-inflammation
anti-inflammation.
and supporting the gut microflora. So, which brings me to the postbiotic. So, postbiotic is a marketing term. So, postbiotic is basically referring to the result of this interaction between prebiotic and probiotic. Again, it's not something that you actually need to supplement your body. It is part of a natural process.
So the
If you have,
flora produce something,
that's correct.
and what is it that they produce? Little chemical things or something?
Chemicals, lactic acid, butyric.
Is that where lactic acid comes from?
No, it's not. It's not only that. Lactic acid can also come from your muscle activity,
Okay.
but that is also part of the metabolic result of your gut microflora
Okay.
activities. And I do think that it's important. And I just want to break this down scientifically. It's not something that you need to be supplementing your body with. It's almost like, if you do everything correctly, this is a natural result of your healthy gut
So
microflora activity.
if you build the garden with the probiotic grows, the flora grows, and then your body just handles the postbiotic. It doesn't need any extra postbiotic.
No. I
Of
mean,
course.
if you really want to give your money to, big pharma and big brands,
It doesn't
just
even
give it
make
to us.
yeah, no, it doesn't even make sense for someone to market a postbiotic thing. That's really bad.
That's
That's really
really
bad.
bad.
People
That's really bad.
they're lying.
It's
That is really
almost
bad.
like you're already taking probiotic and prebiotic. Now let us think of a way to sell you more products.
That's really bad. I didn't know that. So, and I've been seeing more and more postbiotic products recently, sort of thing. So stick with a good prebiotic, and then what's a good probiotic? Yogurt, basically.
Yogurt, I do think that sometimes after taking a strong course of antibiotic, you do need a high strength probiotic supplement.
Which we
I'm
don't
not
we
dis-
don't
we
we
don't
don't
do,
sell we don't sell.
but I'm not discounting the need of it. What I am challenging is the notion that you need probiotic supplement every day. I don't think that's healthy, because you are basically making your body reliant on this supplement, while it should actually be doing it itself.
So I heard a rumor that beer was probiotic. Is that true?
No, that is not true.
Okay, is wine probiotic?
Not really.
Oh, okay. This is all terrible news.
So they use fermentation, which uses yeast to do the fermentation, but the yeast is no longer live when you consume it. And
How about something like kimchi or
kimchi is both prebiotic and probiotic. Sauerkraut, for example, and
gherkins? You know,
gherkins
you
and
buy the
pickles.
gherkins and pickles and that sort of stuff?
Yes, however, there are two types of fermented product. There's a quick fermentation,
Yeah.
and also there is a natural fermentation,
So
which
which
is
is the
very
best
different.
one?
The natural fermentation
Okay.
is always the way to go. Not just because it's natural. It's mostly about one of our good friends, who is the founder of Table 181,
Yeah.
Delhi,
Yep.
which is probably the foremost expert when it comes to kimchi and fermented food, as well as soy sauce in Australia. And the difference between the quick pickle and the natural fermentation is that quick pickle usually just use acid to give you that flavor profile, but it doesn't actually necessarily have the bacteria that can help with your gut.
Okay. And our ACV, so our apple cider vinegar, is that pre or probiotic?
It is both pre and probiotic.
It's both.
That's the reason why it takes a while for us to produce our ACV, because we do ferment it naturally. We retain the prebiotic, and we also make sure that it has the probiotic that helps to fortify your gut and intestinal lining. The
Okay.
prebiotic aspect of it is a lot more than the probiotic. The probiotic just happened to be there because we use a natural fermentation instead of the quick fermentation.
Look, I could continue asking you questions about this for ages, and I really want to. I hope someone asks some questions about this particular topic, because I'd really like to revisit it in a future podcast. But I think we're reaching our time limit, which
That's okay.
I artificially set at about 45 minutes.
We can always pick this conversation up, because this is the thing about our human body. It's not something that you can understand in a quick 40-minute episode. It is something that even for me is still evolving because new studies and new research come out every single day. And I think one of the indication that you're a good scientist is that you're always open to learning. And I do believe that knowledge is power, and by learning, we are empowering ourselves. And that's basically what we want to do because we want you to know better, because we know that when you know better, you choose better. And on that note, uh, Christian and I would bid you adieu until next time. Please keep supporting us, listen to it, download it, and share it with your friends and family. I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye bye.